James Carter wasn't a man who ever thought life would deal him the luxury of choice. Most of his days were dictated by necessity, working back-to-back shifts as a mechanic during the day and food deliveries at night. He wasn't bitter about it. He was a father, and fathers did what they had to do. Every dollar he saved, every extra hour he worked was for one reason: his daughter, Lily. At only 8 years old, Lily had her mother's smile, bright enough to remind James of the life he'd lost too soon. His wife, Emily, had passed away 3 years ago, and since then, James had been learning, sometimes stumbling, through the balancing act of being both dad and mom. And though money was tight, Lily never went without love. That's why, when he finally saved enough to fly Lily across the country to visit her grandparents for the first time in years, James felt a small spark of pride. 2 economy tickets. Nothing fancy, but it meant family, connection, and for Lily, a chance to know her mother's parents, who had been aching to see her. The airport buzzed with its usual chaos. Rolling suitcases clattering, announcements echoing, the faint smell of coffee and jet fuel blending together. James clutched their tickets like they were gold. He glanced down at Lily, who was clutching her stuffed bunny, eyes wide with excitement. "Daddy, is it true they give you peanuts on planes?" she whispered, as if she were about to step into a fairy tale. James chuckled. "If we're lucky. But maybe we'll even get cookies." They reached the gate, hearts light. But the attendant's apologetic smile changed everything. "I'm so sorry, sir," she said, typing furiously on her computer. "It looks like we've overbooked this flight. We only have 1 seat left in economy right now." James blinked. "1 seat? No, there should be 2. I bought 2. I see that here, but the system, it's complicated," she stammered. "We can get you both on the next flight out, but it won't be until tomorrow morning." Tomorrow. James thought of the grandparents waiting at the other end, of the money he'd scraped together for a hotel if they had to stay overnight. He thought of Lily's excitement dimming. His chest tightened. "I can't put her on a flight alone," James said firmly, pulling Lily a little closer. Before the attendant could respond, a commotion erupted nearby. 2 little girls, identical twins in matching pink jackets, were crying loudly while a woman tried to soothe them. "Shish, it's okay, sweethearts," the mother murmured, though her own voice trembled. She turned desperately to the gate agent. "You don't understand. I can't leave one daughter alone. You've given us 1 seat in business class and 1 in economy. That splits us apart. They're only 6 years old. I need to stay with both." The gate agent looked helpless. "Ma'am, I wish I could fix this, but..." James's eyes darted between Lily, the crying twins, and their mother. Something in his chest stirred. He knew what it felt like to see your child on the verge of fear. He knew the helplessness of not being able to make everything right. Before he could second-guess himself, James stepped forward. "Take my seat," he said. The woman blinked at him, stunned. "What? No, you can't just..." James gave a small, tired smile. "Kids shouldn't be split from their parents. If giving up my seat keeps your girls together, then do it. I'll figure out another flight." The twins' mother's eyes shimmered with tears. "You'd really do that? For us?" James shrugged. "I've got a daughter. I get it." The gate agent, moved by the gesture, bit her lip. "Sir, actually, there is 1 seat left. But it's in first class. It's much more expensive." James almost laughed. First class. He had never even dreamed of sitting there. His entire monthly rent probably cost less than a single ticket in that section. "I can't afford that," he said quickly. Just then, the airline supervisor approached, alerted by the situation. He whispered something to the gate agent, who straightened, a new smile spreading across her face. "Sir, your upgrade has been approved. You'll be flying first class today, no additional charge." James froze. "You're serious?" "Yes, sir. It's the least we can do." Still stunned, James crouched in front of Lily. "You okay, Peanut? You'll be sitting with the nice lady and her girls, and I'll be right up front. It's just for a little while." Lily looked nervous, but she nodded bravely, clutching her bunny. "Okay, Daddy, but don't eat all the cookies without me." James laughed, kissed her forehead, and made sure she was seated safely beside the twins and their mother. Then he boarded with a strange mix of guilt and wonder. When he stepped into first class, it felt like another world. Plush leather seats, soft lighting, the faint scent of wine and roasted almonds. A flight attendant greeted him with a smile that made him feel like royalty. "Welcome, Mr. Carter. Can I get you a drink to start your flight?" He shook his head, still dazed. Water's fine." As the plane took off, James sat back, but his mind wasn't on the reclining seat or the fancy meal in front of him. He thought about Lily in the back, coloring with the twins. He thought about the woman he'd just helped, how grateful she'd looked. And though he didn't know it yet, that simple decision, to give up his seat without hesitation, had just set his life on a course more extraordinary than anything he could imagine. Because the woman sitting with Lily wasn't just another passenger. She wasn't just a tired mom of twins. She was someone whose name carried weight in boardrooms and headlines. Someone who could change lives with a single phone call. But James Carter, the single dad who thought first class was a world he'd never belonged to, had no idea he had just crossed paths with the owner of the entire airline. James had never been in a space that felt so far removed from his world. First class was quiet, with wide seats that seemed more like recliners than airplane chairs. People sipped champagne, read newspapers, and tapped on sleek laptops like they were conducting million-dollar deals in the sky. He sat stiffly, feeling like an imposter. When the flight attendant placed a warm towel in his hands, he wasn't sure if he was supposed to wipe his face, his hands, or return it. He copied the man in the next row, hoping no one noticed his hesitation. The meal came. Grilled salmon with asparagus, a bread basket with butter swirled like roses, and a dessert so delicate James wasn't sure if eating it would be rude. He took small bites, but GirlsNot at him. How could he sit here while Lily sat in economy? Was she scared? Was she okay? After what felt like an eternity, a flight attendant leaned down and whispered, "Mr. Carter, there's someone in row 23 who would like to speak with you. Would you like me to escort you?" He blinked. Yeah, of course." As he walked down the narrow aisle, he spotted Lily instantly. She was sandwiched between the twins, giggling over a shared coloring book. Relief washed over him. She was safe, happy, even making friends. The twins' mother, the woman he had given up his seat for, stood to greet him. "James, right?" she asked, her voice warm. "Yes, ma'am, I'm Claire." She extended her hand. "I didn't get the chance to thank you properly earlier. What you did at the gate, not many people would have sacrificed their own comfort for complete strangers." James shook her hand, a little embarrassed. "It was nothing. I just didn't want your girls to be split up. Kids need their mom." Claire's eyes softened as she looked at Lily nestled between her twins. "You're a good father. It shows." They talked quietly for a few minutes. Claire asked about Lily, and James told her about Emily. How she had been the glue of their family, and how losing her had forced him to learn to braid hair, pack lunches, and be both gentle and strong. Claire listened with genuine interest, not with the polite distraction James often saw when people realized he was, just, a mechanic. Eventually, the flight attendant reminded James he needed to return to his seat. He squeezed Lily's hand and promised he'd be right there when they landed. Back in first class, James tried to relax, but his mind kept replaying Claire's kind eyes. Something about her seemed different, composed, powerful, but still deeply human. When the plane touched down hours later, James assumed that was the end. They'd collect their bags, go their separate ways, and this day would fade into memory. But fate wasn't done. At baggage claim, James spotted Claire again, this time not just as a mother, but as someone others seemed to orbit around. Two airline managers in crisp suits stood beside her, speaking in hushed tones. When they saw James, they straightened as if awaiting her orders. Claire walked toward him, her twins holding her hands. "James," she said warmly, "I hope you don't mind me finding you here. I couldn't leave without talking to you." James shifted awkwardly, holding Lily's small suitcase. "Of course. Is everything okay?" The manager stepped forward. "Mr. Carter, on behalf of the airline, we want to express our gratitude for your kindness today. It's rare to see such selflessness." James frowned, confused. "I don't understand. I just gave up a seat. It wasn't that big of a deal." Claire smiled faintly, then took a deep breath. "James, I didn't tell you before because I wanted to see you as you are, not how people usually act when they know my name. I'm not just a mother traveling with her daughters." She paused, eyes steady. "I own this airline." James blinked. For a moment, her words didn't compute. "You own it?" Claire nodded. "My father built it from the ground up. I took over after he passed. People usually see me as a CEO first, a woman with power. But today, you saw me as a mother struggling with her kids. And you helped without hesitation." James's throat tightened. I don't know what to say." "You don't need to say anything," Claire replied. "But I want to say something to you. I saw the way you cared for your daughter, the way you sacrificed without blinking. That's the kind of loyalty and heart I want in my company." James laughed softly, almost bitterly. "Ma'am, I'm a mechanic. I fix cars. I don't belong in the world of airlines and boardrooms." Claire stepped closer, her voice steady but kind. "You belong in any world you choose, James. Skills can be taught, degrees can be earned, but character, integrity, that can't be manufactured, and you have it." Lily tugged at James's sleeve. Her wide eyes shone with hope. "Daddy, does that mean we don't have to worry about rent anymore? Can we have a house with a backyard? And maybe, a dog?" James swallowed hard. For years, he had carried the weight of every bill, every late night, every tear Lily didn't see. He had accepted that his life would be about scraping by, about giving Lily what little he could. And now, standing in an airport baggage claim, a door was opening to a future he had never dared to dream. I don't know if I'm the right man for something like this," he admitted, voice shaking. Claire placed a hand on his arm. "James, the right man is the one who puts others before himself, even when no one's watching. You did that today. Let me help you, the way you helped me." Silence stretched for a moment. Then James looked down at Lily, who was staring at him with a mixture of awe and excitement. He thought of Emily, what she would say if she were here. He thought of the sacrifices he had made, and how maybe, just maybe, this was the universe giving something back. Finally, he nodded. "If you're serious, then yes. I'll do it." Claire smiled and extended her hand once more. "Welcome to the family, James." As they shook hands, the airport noise seemed to fade away. James realized he wasn't just stepping into a new job or opportunity. He was stepping into a life where Lily's dreams could come true, where he wouldn't always have to say no because of money, where he could finally breathe. And all of it had begun with one simple act: giving up his seat for two little girls.